My name is Tin Yun, and I'm a product manager on the Cloud AI team. And today, I'm here to talk about a new product we are launching for delivering highly personalized shopping experiences on GCP. But before we begin, I wanted to step back and provide a little bit of context. What is so hard about delivering good recommendations, which is the key component of personalization? Well, if you think about the basic setup, it involves, for a given user, in a context that they're interacting with you in, recommending an item from a long list of potential items that you could show them. And there are challenges along each of these major steps, right? So for users, you have cold start users that you've never seen before. You have users who have shifting habits, so even if you have seen them before, they may not be behaving the same way anymore. And you also have the sparse feedback problem. They don't actually interact with every one of your products. They only ever interact with a few, and frequently only the head items. Then you have changing context. They're on different pages of your website. They're interacting with you from a different device, iOS or Android or whatnot. There's changing channels. Sometimes they're in-store, sometimes they're on mobile versus desktop. And then there's changing location, right? They might be signing in from different geographies. And finally, items. You might have a new product launch, so it's a cold start item with no history, so you don't necessarily know how to recommend it. You have sparse labels, so especially for the tail items, you might not have significant signal on how people click and purchase it, and it's hard to recommend. And then especially in the retail setting, for a lot of your products, the most important information is not necessarily in the clicks and purchases, but in the unstructured metadata. So for example, the description of a book or the image of a dress, right? And in this situation, with all these different challenges, you have to solve all of them to deliver a good recommendation, which is actually really difficult. And by the way, you have to do this in 100 milliseconds with up to billions of items and billions of users, at least in the Google setting. So luckily here at Google, we've been able to accumulate years of experience across multiple flagship properties on how to make recommendations better, including with the latest deep learning approaches. So for example, in search, we do personalized search re-ranking. With YouTube, we predict what video you should watch next based on your viewing history. In Google Play, we predict what app you're likely to install, and so forth. So here's an example from YouTube. This was published in The Verge. So more than 70% of the time people spend watching videos on the site is now driven by YouTube's algorithmic recommendations. So that's a significant share. So in light of this, both the challenges as well as the great recommendations technology and infrastructure we've built up at Google, we decided to provide all of this as a managed service to enable retailers to deliver state-of-the-art, highly personalized product recommendations to their shoppers in real time and at scale. We call this product Recommendations AI, which I'm proud to announce is in limited beta as of yesterday. The way it works is we provide a fully managed global scale service that basically works out of the box. And by managed service, I mean there's a whole slew of problems that we solve on your behalf, so there's no need for you to think about it. So for example, there's no need for you to think about cleaning and pre-processing your ingested data, because we'll do things like deduplicate your user events, filter bot traffic, et cetera, on your behalf. No need to think about writing state-of-the-art machine learning code, keeping up with the latest deep learning advances, making sure that your models cover your entire product catalog and do so in low latency. All these are very challenging problems, and we take care of that for you, essentially cherry-picking the best of what is coming out internally from the other consumer-facing teams at Google. There's no need for you to think about maintaining resilient training pipelines, making sure that your pipelines run day in and day out without failure. No need to think about addressing common biases that can skew your recommender, such as popular items, seasonality, on-sale items, as well as making sure that your recommender properly recommends when it hits cold start items or tail items. No need to think about replicating your service across regions. We do that for you, so wherever your shoppers are, we can serve it. No need to think about provisioning servers to handle spiky traffic. Retailers in the room probably know that you can have 3x or even 10x spikes in terms of user traffic. So no need to think about it. We'll automate dealing with that for you. No need to think about building monitoring, error checking, alerting systems, as well as relevant dashboards. So obviously, this is extremely important in case your recommendation fails for some reason in the pipeline. We'll warn you, and we'll also enable you to check it and debug it in your dashboard. And then finally, no need for you to manage the latency, availability, and cost for all of these above components. The way to think about it is that not only are each of these steps extremely difficult to deal with, but they're also potential points of failure for your overall system. So we take care of all of that, make it resilient, make it work, make it best practice, and all you need to do is ingest your product catalog and user events, and then from the Predict API, retrieve and then display the recommendation results. And then you only have to pay for the recommendations served. So all the underlying infrastructure costs, we take care of for you, and we bundle it in. In terms of recommendation options, we provide a comprehensive portfolio of choices suited for the retail setting, which you can retrieve with just a simple Predict API call, as I mentioned earlier. So first, you can choose your recommendation type, and we have the primary types that are available, that are needed for a retail website, right? For example, recommended for you, which is based on your shopping history, what are you likely to click on or buy next, usually used on the homepage. Other items you may like, for recommending other relevant items on the product detail page, but doing so in a personalized way based on your shopping history. Frequently bought together, so suggesting complementary items to a current one that you're already thinking of buying, right, as opposed to a substitute item. And then shopping cart and registry expansion. So let's say you already have 5 items in your cart. What other items go with that cart? Next, for each of these recommendation placements, you can define your objective. So whether you want to optimize for engagement or click-through rate at the time, conversion rate, or revenue per session. So we could re-rank the options based on the price for you. And finally, fine-tuning results. So you can do things like filtering out of stock items, filtering duplicate items, especially useful if you have a large category with many overlapping items, filter by custom tags that you provide, turn diversification on or off, as well as turn personalization on or off. Usually personalization will achieve better metrics, but there might be unique circumstances where you don't want to personalize. And as I mentioned earlier, as input to the recommender system, we take your product catalog as well as a live stream of your user events. And because we're using the latest deep learning architectures, we put all of your data to work, every last ounce of it. So for example, in the product catalog, we not only use the history of clicks and purchases for each of those products, but we also use the rich metadata that's available in the catalog you provide. The name of the product, the description, the categories, etc. All of these things are used directly as inputs in the neural net model to enable our models to recommend better, especially for cold start items or tail items, where the only signal we have potentially is from the metadata itself. Next, we also take a live feed of real-time user events, and we use every bit of it, not only just the aggregate clicks and purchases, but also the exact sequence of user events down to what happened in the last second in order to inform the recommender. So the exact sequence, the event type of each of the elements in the sequence, the ordering, the distance between each of the events, all of these are used as signal into our model, as well as things like the domain and device, other custom features you might provide for the event context. Ingesting this data is easy as well. So we have built-in integrations to enable easy data ingestion from a large number of touchpoints that you already have with Google. For example, if you already send your product catalog to the Google Shopping team for managing your product listing ads, then you can use the same integration for Recommendations AI. Similarly, if you already use Google Tag Manager for ingesting user events from your website, then we do have a native tag integration with Google Tag Manager that you can turn on. And of course, if your historic data is stored in Google Cloud Storage or BigQuery, we can ingest from there as well in order to, for example, warm start the recommender. But of course, if you prefer more traditional options like a backend API or a JavaScript snippet, we have those options available also. And of course, none of this would matter if we couldn't deliver results. And I'm proud to say that after working with a number of pilot customers all over the world, delivering recommendations on their full 100% production e-commerce traffic, we've been able to prove our ability to deliver significant lift on key metrics, key business metrics that you care about, as shown in A/B experiments controlled by our customers versus their baseline solutions. So for example, up to a 90% improvement in recommendation-driven click-through rate, up to a 50% improvement in recommendation-driven revenue, as well as up to a 5% improvement in total revenue per session. I'm especially proud of this last metric. It looks small, but actually it's the biggest one, because typically for the pilots that we've worked with, the pilot customers we've worked with, the baseline tends to provide only a small share of their total revenue, something like 10%. We've even seen less than 5%. So if you can increase the total revenue by up to 5%, that's actually a pretty significant improvement. And as a caveat, these metrics are meant to give you a sense of the upper ranges of what we've been able to achieve, the upper ranges. The full range of actual results can vary dramatically based on a lot of factors, such as the positioning of the recommender on your website. If you put it at the very bottom of the page, obviously we're not going to impact total revenue that much no matter what. The number of products in the catalog, the more products you have, the more likely our recommender has room to do innovative new things that it couldn't do before. But whether there are any data integration issues, and this is actually the biggest issue that we've come across when it comes to model quality. If people can't achieve the results, typically there's some kind of data integration issue involved. Things like maybe the user events are not being sent properly, maybe the product catalog is not being updated regularly, maybe the predictions are not actually being shown in the appropriate order. All of these are things that we've hit on a regular basis in A/B experiments, in the middle of A/B experiments. So this is probably the biggest category of things to watch out for. And finally, of course, if you have a large data science team that has already been working on recommendations for many years, likely you won't see these kinds of results across the board. But I believe that it would be great if you could test it on individual locations that maybe you haven't worked as hard on, and then it could still provide significant lift for those. So you can think about ways to mix and match whatever is the best of breed from in-house as well as from us. That's one of the reasons why we decided to price per prediction, so you can do that kind of thing. And now I'd like to show you a demo of our dashboard from which you can monitor the performance of your recommender as well as the health of your data integrations. So here's what the dashboard looks like. You can monitor your overall recommender performance as well as the performance, so on metrics that you care about for system-wide, like total revenue, recommender engaged revenue, and so forth, as well as the performance of individual recommendation placements. So for example, the performance of your homepage. We can dig in on that and see how it's doing. Similarly, you can look at the health of your data integration. So you can see how your integration is doing. So for example, you can see whether the total number of products looks correct, whether the right number of products is in stock. Sometimes people accidentally turn out of stock on and then forget to turn it back in stock, so we put this here. You can make sure that your product catalog is up to date. And you can also check the status of your user event integration. So we've actually come across situations where even one team manages the recommender and another team manages the broader website experience, and that team will accidentally delete the pixel of the team that's doing the recommender. So you would see stuff like that where there's a massive user event drop here from this dashboard. And a common problem we also see is that people send product IDs in their user events that actually are not in the product catalog itself. So we help you track that as well. Because obviously, if you send us a product ID that doesn't exist in the product catalog, then we can't do anything with it, right? So you can track that here as well. And then we're also, one of the benefits of being part of Google Cloud, the platform, is that there are all sorts of other systems for maintaining production systems that we can be natively integrated to. So for example, you can check your API metrics here. People especially care about the latency and the error rate of their predict method in terms of retrieving recommendations. So you can monitor that here. So I'm just going to turn on just set it to the filter to the predict API method, and you can see the total traffic, the errors that are happening, the latency of these calls. So obviously, a lot of you want to keep the recommender at the 95th percentile within 150 milliseconds, just to make sure it's a highly dynamic experience. So we'll help you. You can check that at any time, as well as a more detailed latency view here. Next, you can go over individual errors that you've hit. So this is also a common issue where people send poor data. So we can so we can allow you to deep dive on what the errors are. And finally, one of the big things in terms of making sure the recommender is making money for you day in and day out is you have to actually make sure it's working on a daily basis. But you don't want to look at the dashboard every single day, right? So if you want to avoid that, you can also set up alerting. So here, for example, in this demo project, we've set up an alert for when the predict errors is above 0. So if there's ever some kind of system problem that causes the pipeline to break, then you can be alerted without you having to look at the dashboard every day. So all sorts of functionality to ensure that your recommender is making money for you day in and day out. So on top of having state-of-the-art models and recommendation techniques. If we go back to the slides. And finally, since these questions always get asked, I wanted to let you know upfront that you can rest easy. So your data isn't used for any other Google customer or Google product, just belongs to you and sits inside your project. Your data isn't mixed with that of other Google customers. We don't mix all the user events together and create one master model. There's one model per customer that we retrain on a daily basis. You always can delete your data and models at any time. This is a commonly asked question. And finally, we support GDPR compliance. And now, I would like to introduce Robert and Dan from eMAG, one of the largest online retailers in Eastern Europe, and whom we are honored to have as one of our pilot customers. Here you go.
Thank you. Hello, everyone. My name is Robert Neculae, and I am targeting product owner at eMAG. And this is Dan Belibov, one of our best engineers. We are part of eMAG's targeting team, and today we are going to speak about recommendations and our experience with Google Recommendations AI. So this is what I've learned in the past 5 years working in the targeting business. Nobody wants to be, sorry, just joking. Nobody wants to shop alone. We can say that today the internet is about personalization. We have social media apps, news feeds, or streaming platforms that are providing experiences based on user interest. And also e-commerce platforms are trying to adapt to this trend. As Nguyen has mentioned, it's not an easy job, but this is our job. We need to understand the customer's needs and to provide a personalized shopping experience for each one of our users. First of all, a few things about who we are. eMAG, it's a Romanian unicorn. The company was founded in 2001 and was valuated at over $1 billion in 2018. We are an organization which is rapidly expanding in the region, aiming to become the largest online retailer in this part of Europe. Today, eMAG is the largest marketplace in Romania. It is a top online retailer in Bulgaria and Hungary, and is also present in Poland. We have over 4,000 talented people that work every day to make our customers' lives better by saving them time and money. At eMAG, we use technology and innovation to facilitate the best online shopping experience. So the Google Cloud's invitation to test the new recommendation AI was exactly what we need for our recommendation project. eMAG's goal is to deliver the most friendly and helpful shopping experience by offering a wide range of products and categories, services that are always updated based on the client's needs. Our team, the targeting team, is responsible for developing the internal recommendation engine, managing how our platforms adapt and react to each user through personalized content in recommendation widgets or in other areas. Why is this important? Because more than 20% of our daily orders are from recommendations. Now, my colleague Dan will present our Rec app, or Alfred.
Thanks, Robert. As Robert already mentioned, our main aim is to create a unique experience for each eMAG user. In order to do this, we created a personal assistant who will know customers' preferences and their habits too. His name is Alfred. Alfred is eMAG's recommendation app, and he's pretty busy. Only on eMAG Raw, he should provide over 1 billion unique recommendations per month. In order to do this, we are using internal or third-party recommendation algorithms to generate recommendations which will be shown in widgets in order to provide it in customers' touchpoint. Of course, Alfred has some service responsibilities, some SLAs. For example, he knows that he should deliver more than 99% of success recommendations, and he has only 250 milliseconds to provide best recommendations for each customer. Alfred knows that he must deliver an average of 7,000 requests per second on all 4 platforms mentioned above. In addition to this, he should provide them separately for desktop site, mobile app, and targeting application. In order to do all this job, Alfred needs some resources, which are represented by its infrastructure. He has 16 web server machines, 8 worker machines, 28 database machines of 4 different types, and 9 queue machines of 2 different types. We should agree it's a great amount of resources used for Alfred's day-by-day business. But it's not all. There is a day in the year when everyone wants to shop faster and to get perfectly fitted products for them. We're speaking about Black Friday. In this day, Alfred knows that he must roll up his sleeves and provide more than 20,000 requests per second with a maximum error rate of 1%. In order to ensure this, we need to scale his resources up to 3 times. As we have mentioned, Alfred has some friends, some third-party recommendation engines, and his new best friend is Recommendations AI. For us, it took only 5 working days to teach Alfred to speak with his new friend. In just 7 days, we had the first model live, continuing to improve it and testing it in our site. We have configured Google Tag Manager to send user events to Recommendations AI, freeing Alfred from doing this job. Also, our app sends catalog item updates, ensuring near real-time stock updates in recommendations. As a result, in first month, you can have your first model live as we had one. Important to mention here, we made 2 integrations, one with PHP and one with Golang. It was very simple. Now, Robert will show us some more numbers.
Thanks. So, the first recommendation AI scenario tested was other items you may like. On eMAG, the best interaction with the recommendations is on the product page on the first widget. So we have tested other items you may like versus our own scenario that we have previously used for this position, related items, a content-based filtering algorithm. What about the results? We had an important increase in click-through rate, 26%. The rec-driven conversion rate was boosted with 32%, and the rec-driven revenue was boosted with 40%. Also, we have noticed a significant 5% increase in total revenue per session. Pretty cool, not? So, this is not all. We have also tested the frequently bought together scenario. This time, the widget is lower on the page, on the second position, and it usually contains cross-selling product recommendations based on manual rules created by our commercial department. This time, the results was even better. We have 100% increase in rec-driven click-through rate and 180% rec-driven conversion rate increase. Also, we have 180% rec-driven revenue boost. We have also 1% increase in total revenue per session. Sorry. As you can see, the differences are very significant, and we can definitely say that the AI performs better than the manual rules. So, Dan, what's next?
As a result of Alfred integration with Recommendations AI, we can free more than 25% of its previously used infrastructure resources. Yeah, that one that was big. Average error rate of Recommendations AI scenarios is lower than 0.001%, and it's great for us. Now, the integration of new scenarios requires only model training. For Alfred, everything can be done in its UI. What comes next for Alfred and his new friend? From our point of view, it's integration of new scenarios, it's A/B testing the existing implementations, and adding Recommendations AI scenarios in homepage, cart checkout, targeting emails, and others. We are looking forward to use all Recommendations AI available scenarios. I want to thank Tin Yun and the whole Recommendations AI team for this opportunity. Thank you.
All right. Thanks, guys, for that great story. And now, being the PM for this product, naturally, I've looked closely at the retail tech space, and I know there's so much more to delivering an end-to-end magical shopping experience than just great machine learning algorithms. So here at Cloud AI, we know we can't do everything ourselves, and we don't want to do everything ourselves. So wherever there are great GCP partners that we can work with, that is definitely our preferred route. And with that, I'd like to introduce Steve from Certona, which recently joined forces with Kibo to deliver an industry-leading unified cloud commerce platform with personalization at its core, and whom we are proud to have as a partner.
I'm Steve Quant. I'm the principal architect at Certona. Certona's been doing personalization for almost 15 years now. Have a pretty good product base. Just recently joining with Kibo. And with that, Oop. Green button. There we go. With that integration, now we're able to add full stack solutions to our capabilities as a combined company. We have cart and checkout capabilities, order management, mobile point of commerce, the product search and discovery, content management, product recommendations, personalized email and remarketing, and real-time experience management. The experience management's across the multiple platforms, personalization at all the different endpoints. As Tinian was saying earlier, recommendations aren't necessarily that easy. There's a lot more than just the recommendations. We've integrated with the recommendation AI, but there's also the real-time tag management. We provide test and optimization. You have reporting. We have integrated with the big data analytics using BigQuery to provide our customers their data and able to share our data with them. With recommendations, there's managing the site, but there's also managing the customer experience. When you have a site and they have their marketing people responsible for what they're doing, it starts with the machine algorithms, but having boost and bury business rules, being able to present, being able to integrate your visitor profile, being able to integrate your product context. There's a lot more than just the AI, and with the Certona platform and the Kibo products, we're able to integrate these touch points and provide an end-to-end experience for customer sites. Let's go ahead. How it all works is starting with the online data and offline data, integrating that together. We sessionize your data for reporting and sharing internally with our customers. Send that data both, as Tinian said earlier, your previous session batch data, as well as your current live stream. Integrating customer data, catalog data into the Google Cloud platform, getting the recommendations back, presenting it to the site, and back all the way to the customer touch point, whether that's their website, product or email recommendations, remarketing recommendations, in-store recommendations. This is an example of our experience manager. This is our user interface into our platform. When you're integrating with the Google or the Certona platform, the Google recommendations are just another strategy for how you present products, along with our standard set. You just select the Google recommendations. And one of the things that Google provides on top of this is there's a lot of, sometimes marketing managers want to introduce their own business rules. They want to have certain slots that they want to target stuff that isn't necessarily bought together, or some other strategy that's on the page where they want to highlight particular items. And they're also wanting to do A/B testing. All of that comes out of the box with the Certona recommendation package, and integrating with the Google AI is one of the tools that we see going forward that is going to allow us to scale even better and take advantage of current technology in the recommendation modeling. Another product that we see has a huge future with us is the data science platform, BigQuery, able to easily integrate our data with our customers' data and allow for a richer product experience, and also for visualization and digging deeper into the product set that's available. With the working with Google, why Google? Definitely there was a strategic alignment with customers. We share a lot of their customers. A lot of our customers are already in the Google platform. They have the state-of-the-art AI. It's an easy integration. We integrated with their web API, and very simple to use. They have definitely state-of-the-art infrastructure. Scalability issues aren't an issue. Being able to have global reach, our customers are distributed all over the world. To get an edge that's close to where they need that presence is definitely something that Google has for us, and also working with great people here at Google. And back to Chinyan.
Thank you. Awesome. All right. Thank you, Steve, for sharing that great introduction to our partnership. And now, in closing, please note that we are in limited beta right now. So because we've had significant interest, we currently only have a limited number of spots. But if you're interested, please contact your Google account manager to get on the waiting list, and we'll try to get started ramping you up as soon as we can.